All right, people, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to go photograph the Firefalls in Yosemite. What is the Firefalls, you say? Well, Horsetail Falls, which is on a flank of El Capitan. It's a very small waterfall, kind of seasonal. If it's flowing during later February, right at sunset, the light hits the falls at a precise angle, which causes them to turn bright orange for a period of about anywhere from 5 minutes to 10 or 15 minutes. Now, there are three factors that need to fall into place in order for this to happen. Number one, you have to have plenty of snowpack. Number two, it has to be warm enough so the creek is flowing. It's a very small creek, so if it's super cold, it'll just freeze and it won't flow. And then the third thing you need is a relatively clear sky to the west. So you need all three of these things to line up in order for the Firefalls to happen. So some years it doesn't happen. But fortunately, it's not just a one-day thing. It happens over a week to 2 weeks. So generally, there's going to be some good days in there. You may notice that I'm actually walking in the road. And what they do is they close off one lane in the road and use it for people to walk on, because there's quite a few people that come to see this. And there was a few years ago, I think it was 2019 or so, people were just parking all cattywampus everywhere, and then they were trampling across sensitive meadows and stuff to get to the area where they could see the falls, and it just got a little messy. They left trash. There were no porta potties, so people were doing their thing out in front of God and everyone, you know. So they close off all the parking on the other side of the river so that people don't try to cut across. And they have designated parking just for the Firefalls. You're supposed to do this walk that I'm doing, which is like 1.5 miles, and that'll get you to the area where you can see the falls. So that's what we're doing. If we look ahead, we see a lot more people. I've been here before when it's been a lot more crowded than this. There's another thing that's new for this year, and that is that if any of you were coming to Yosemite during COVID, you had to have a reservation to enter the park. So after COVID, they stopped that. But now the Firefalls has gotten so popular that they require a reservation to get into the park on the weekend. So if it's a weekday, you can just come in the park as normal, pay your fee, and just come in and head for the Firefalls. But if it's a weekend, you have to have a reservation for the park. It isn't a reservation to see the Firefalls, or to be at there's no like ticket for the Firefalls or anything like that. It's just a reservation is required to enter the park. So they're just trying to keep the numbers under control, because probably, there were a lot of people who just drove up from the Central Valley just in the late afternoon just to catch it in the evening, and there was just too much congestion. So that's why they put those rules in effect. And you just noticed a young woman on a bicycle just passed me. And so you can save yourself the 1.5 mile hike by riding a bike if you want along this closed off portion of the road. Okay, this looks like maybe a spot where I'm going to be. You can see everybody all set up. I'm only minutes away, so it's going to be.
So first we gotta start by.
There's the kind of the etiquette thing where you don't want to piss somebody off and stand in front of them and all that stuff. So. You guys think I can be here okay? You good? Yeah. Yeah. You okay? Yeah. Looks pretty good up there. Wow. So you can see it's kind of whitish now, and then it'll turn orange here in a minute. It's kind of looking like the focal length range that you want, at least from here, is kind of in the 100 to 200 range. This is 200, and then if I back it off to 100, then we can kind of get, all of El Cap in there, so that's cool. You can see it's a little kind of hazy over there. There's a bit of mist or cloud, so I think, I don't know, it could help us or make it less orange. Right now it's not looking super orange. All right, so here's my take on that. There's that misty overcast in the distance, which caused it to be not as spectacular, but very long lasting. So anyway, that was not an epic video, but I thought it might be interesting to folks out there just to see what it's all about, see where to go, what it looks like. And the funny thing, as it turns out, it kind of felt like I was kind of late. It was actually, I was right on time. I had just enough time to come in there and set up and get ready and didn't have to stand there and freeze. Sometimes it's kind of a party, you know, people. There was a little bit of partying in another group over there, but we got some slower walkers here. Get around them. Going off in the weeds here a little bit. Tons of rangers with flashing lights and yelling over their intercoms. And bike is probably the way to go. There you go. There's the cop. There's the cop. Yelling at people. So there's traffic in the other lane, and you know, people are just kind of like, you know how they are, just kind of wandering over into the lane, and the ranger cops are trying to keep everybody safe and all that. So it is what it is. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.